And we're live.
So, do I gotta wait a couple years before a kid comes up and joins me on a team? Do I have to do that? I don't know. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in until the point with
Skip.
and the King. You guys know what to do. Go down there, click subscribe, click like, leave some comments. You guys can find us on Twitter, on Instagram. Where else, Skip? On Facebook. Yeah, I think they know that. And if you're here on YouTube, let us know what you think. And if you're not, you're bootlegging and you owe us some money. You guys.
We also got Spotify too. We also got Spotify and
we got Spotify,
Amazon.
We got Skip and Amazon. Yes, we do. If you guys want to sit in your car and drive around and listen to us talk our crap, that's cool. But thank you guys for supporting us. Thank you guys for all your subscribes. Thank you guys for all your likes. Thank you guys for enjoying what Skip and I do. And if you guys want to meet us in person, it will be at Hurricanes Roadhouse, Tuesday, September 20th from 8 p.m. And you guys can come by for a trivia night, have a drink, have some nachos, have some food, have some fun, right? And speaking of fun, we always have fun guests that you guys do enjoy, especially our man right there, Kenyon Nisbett. How you doing today, my friend?
Good as always. Nice to see you. Nice to be back.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for coming back on the show. You know, you're an integral part with us. So let's get down to this. Skip, what do we talk about? We talk about basketball. We talk about the Raptors. So let's get down to this.
We're not talking about practice.
Practice?
So yeah.
Practice? Okay. So
well, we were recently when we did the Rico Hines runs, but you know.
Kenyon, we have seen a seismic shift within the NBA over the last few years, and how valuable the three-point shot is. Can you please explain to us and our viewers out there how valuable that three-point shot is to any team that wants to be a contender and win a championship?
Yeah, I mean, if you look down the line for the past, I believe last time I looked, it was like 20 years. You need to be, on average, a top 10 defense and offense, and usually 9 times out of 10, you had to be top 5 in both categories. So offensively, you need to be a juggernaut. Very few teams have won without being that, and very few teams have definitely, haven't won without being the defensive end either. So in terms of the three-point shot, obviously it's expanded out. It's important. It spreads the floor out. The Warriors, perfect example of that, where they, as I said before, and this is why, we've talked about it a little bit here, but positionless basketball, the whole point is that you're changing the geometry of the court. You're making the court bigger. You're spreading the defense out, and you can create more opportunities by having three-point threats. Positionless basketball, I think, is a combating element to that, but we can talk about that another day.
Can I jump in real quick? One thing, it's also value. It's also value, right? Because it's value per shot. That's the big thing with the three. It's threes and dunks are the most valuable shots on the floor.
Yeah, by the numbers. So yeah, instead of taking, sorry for anyone who remembers DeMar DeRozan when he was on the Raptors. Love you, DeMar. But taking long. Yeah, so being king of the mid-range, it is important. But at the same time, a long 2 versus a long 3, by the numbers, if you're shooting roughly the same percentage, or within whatever the percentage points are, a three-point shot is more valuable.
Now, Skip, speaking of, thank you, Kenyon. Thank you very much. Now, Skip, Kenyon just described the value of the three-point shot and what it can do for a team. Now, speaking of teams, what can it do for your Toronto Raptors?
So actually, Kenyon hit on a lot of points that are kind of relevant here, which is that a good no, it's fine. Which is that good teams need to be good on both sides of the ball, and the Raptors were not good on both sides of the ball last year. Their offense was anemic. Really, outside of dominating the possession battle, they could not score last year, and that has to do with 3-pointers. That has to do with 2-pointers. That has to do with all of the above. But the bottom line is the Raptors were, I believe, 19th in the league in 3-point attempts, 19th or 20th, and then they were 19th or 20th in 19th in attempts and 20th in percentage. So they weren't shooting a lot of threes, and they weren't making them at an especially high rate. And when you combine that with a really, really bad inside game offensively, the Raptors really just struggled to score. The only reason they were a competent offensive team is because they got so many offensive rebounds, which, I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You're going to get a lot of offensive rebounds when you're missing every damn shot. We all know this. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to start making more shots if they want to get to that next level, to get to that real contender status. And there's a couple different ways they could go about it. They could go about it by working on their inside game, by getting more points inside the paint, or they could work on it just by converting more shot opportunities, outside shot opportunities, and taking more shots and converting more of those opportunities. So I think going forward into this year, there are a few different ways that they can kind of resolve that issue.
Jumping the gun again, Skipper.
All right, I'll let you take it away, Brian.
You're jumping the gun again, because I do love where you're going.
Okay.
I do love that point. Now, can I just set this out there for you ladies and gentlemen out there to understand? Like, yes, every decade the NBA landscape changes on how it's played, and over the last 10 years it has become the 3-point shot with Golden State, especially Steph Curry, changing the game, right? Absolutely. And now every team needs probably about 2 to 3 3-point shooters, and I think it's more. Yeah, probably like 4 or 5 at this point right now, right? But, and I did say this, ladies and gentlemen, I did say that about Golden State, and I will say it about the Raptors, that they're going to change the game with the positionless basketball. We'll get into that another time. But when it comes down to the 3-point shooting, the Raptors do have multiple players that can make the 3-point shot. Like, we have, obviously, who got the most clutch? Freddie VanVleet. Mom, stop. Okay. We got Freddie. You know, there's Gary Trent Jr. There's OG. There's Chris Boucher. You know, there's Scottie this summer working on his 3-point shot. You know, there's Kem Birch. There's Precious Achiuwa. There's Skip. I know you like this guy, Otto Porter Jr. Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that can actually hit 3-point shots for the Raptors, and to maybe put them kind of into that mold of what a championship team should be. Now, my question to you guys is, which Raptors players do you think can stand out when it comes to the 3-point this season? Yes, Skip, you already jumped the gun. But which Raptors players do you think can stand out when it comes to 3-point shooting?
Okay, so I'm going to take that first. Last year, the 3 players that stood out for the Raptors at the 3-point end, from the 3-point line, are Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., and OG Anunoby. They were all above average shooters. They took an enormous amount of the Raptors' attempts. They were really high volume shooters. All of those guys really, really helped make the Raptors a respectable team from 3. I mean, 20th isn't great, but it's not last in the league. So those 3 were the absolute keys. And then you add a guy like Otto Porter Jr. into the mix, and suddenly he slots in right next to those guys not quite as high volume as those three guys, but another guy shoots a really great percentage. He shot, I think, 39% last year. That might be his career number, but it's one of those two. Either way, he shot really well last year, and he's really a strong three-point shooter career-wise. But so suddenly you have those four guys. So suddenly you look at those four guys, and if you can just surround one playmaker with four elite shooters like that,
Scottie Barnes.
Yeah, well, the playmaker, I mean, the Raptors have two, right? They have Pascal Siakam and they have Scottie Barnes. Both of those guys are below average shooters. They're not particularly strong shooters, but they're going to be asked to carry the ball this year a lot, which means they're going to have to be driving the paint, really creating opportunities for all these other guys. And the interesting thing is all those four guys I mentioned, I believe all four of them are primarily catch and shoot players. Fred VanVleet has tried to not be that in the past. Hasn't worked out particularly well when he's the one who's dominating the ball and he's trying to score from above the break. His best percentages are catch and shoot. Same with Otto Porter Jr. Almost all of his shots are catch and shoot. OG Anunoby, almost all of his shots are catch and shoot. Precious Achiuwa, who's a guy I haven't even mentioned yet, he really came on last year, and he is, if he can be the kind of shooter he was last year, that's another guy you're looking at, a catch and shoot guy who can really space the floor. Yeah, a second half of the year I'm talking about, for sure. But yeah, so suddenly you say those four guys, you add a Precious Achiuwa, and then there's a few other guys on the roster who are going to take a few threes, but those are kind of your weaker shooters. Those are the guys who what you want is for the ball to be in their hands and them to be finding other guys. In theory, that's how it works on paper.
Yeah.
Kenyon?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll take a different approach to it. So sorry, just to repeat, you're asking like who is integral on the team to three-point shooting. Okay, so to me, I'll look at it differently. I look at playmakers because playmakers get guys good shots. I will push back a little bit. I would say that Pascal last year, his three-point shot actually improved. It was down in the year after the bubble, the Tampa season, the forgotten season. But
it was okay last year. It's still not really what you want. Yeah,
it's not what you want, but anyways, it's league average, right? Yeah. So he finally had a whole summer to actually work on his game. He hasn't had that for 2 years. So that alone, plus, I mean, I don't read too much into the Rico Hines runs, but his form looks better. It looks smoother. It looks faster. Same with Scottie. I think if either of those, and I'm talking about maybe 1 to 2 percentage points for Scottie and maybe 1 percentage point increase for Pascal, that is significant because that, if you expand that, if you extrapolate that out throughout the course of a season, right? And Scottie is shooting, let's say 31 to 32%, which is not out of the realm of possibility. And Pascal shoots between 35 to 37%, which he has shot 36% before. Okay. And he has had stretches where he shot 40% this season, even for the last 2 months, or at least the month of April for sure. If they do that, the rest of the floor opens up. You get easier three-point shots, you get easier looks for guys, and the playmaking opens up. And there's one other thing. On the bench, I think there's someone that you forgot. Thad is now... I
didn't forget him. He's in that batch of like sort of average.
So here's my point though. Here's my point. Thad is important because he's now much more integrated into the team. He's now going to come through. He's been with them for the Rico Hines runs for basically the whole summer. I've never seen a team do this before for that length of time. He's going to be there in training camp. Thad's secret weapon, and this is the thing that I love about Thad, and this is the thing that I focus on. I've always said that you can never have enough playmaking. Yeah. Look at the cutting. Look at like what happened when he was finally like somewhat integrated into the team, shook off the rust. In the playoffs, you saw people cutting, and when guys cut to the rim, it also opened up those 3-point opportunities. Yeah. So just out of that, of course the Raptors are going to be better, and I would say that the my underrated pickup of the year in terms of the offseason signings would be, for all of the NBA, would be Otto Porter Jr. Because no one thought that he was going to leave Golden State. And he is, yes, you said his career numbers. He has shot above 40% multiple times in his career. He is basically above 80th percentile when you go down all of the advanced metrics for offense and defensive stats, like all the way down. There's not a single thing that he is bad at. He just needs to be healthy, and he's in a role that will allow him to be healthy. King, you look like you want to ask a question.
Yes, we did cover Otto Porter on his signing.
Yeah.
But my question to you guys is, since we're discussing the 3-point shooting, now in order, as a former coach, I will say, in order to be effective as a 3-point shooting team, you need something down low, right? You need something on the inside. Like Skip, you alluded to earlier about dunking down low, which opens up. So now, which players would you, if you guys were the coach, if you were to take away, okay, you're not shooting threes, but you're down low, you're banging. Which players do you guys see that can make this effective? Because you got to have the yin and the yang, like myself and Skip.
Yeah.
You got to have the balance, right? So Skip, oh my God, I hear you want to go off. Go.
I mean, the Raptors don't have the traditional banging big man, obviously. They've moved away from that model.
I mean, the whole NBA has.
Yeah, the whole NBA has. But the bottom line is you need to create opportunities inside to then create opportunities outside. I'll loop back to Kenyon's point about the playmaking. I think 100%. That's exactly what I was getting at. I don't think we're on different pages at all. I think what I'm getting at is you need your Pascal Siakams, your Scottie Barnes, and your Thad Youngs to be operating inside and playmaking for everything else around them, for all the catch and shoot players around them. And that's where
Scottie on the inside?
Well, yeah, I mean, Scottie's going to be playing downhill. I'm not saying
so
park him in the
Scottie
paint.
is
I'm talking
one of
about
the
playing
only
downhill.
Yeah, so Scottie's one of the only people on this team, just for clarity, just to help, I'm helping your point, is he is one of the best guys beyond Pascal Siakam to create rim pressure.
Yeah.
So I get where you're going, if you want to continue your point.
Yeah, I'm talking about driving much more than I'm talking about camping someone out in the paint for lob dunks or something like that. I'm talking about guys who are going to be coming up the floor, driving, creating opportunities, and then the key is to have these really strong shooters around you. And that's where it becomes a little difficult if you have a Pascal and a Scottie and a Chris Boucher all on the floor at the same time or something like that.
I mean, you say that now, but again, do not be surprised if both of those guys take steps forward.
Yeah, I could see them absolutely
guys,
taking
especially
steps
those two
forward.
guys with the ball in their hands,
so
playmaking
Pascal
and shooting. I expect Pascal to be. He was good last year. You all doubted him. People all doubted him, and he came back.
No, I'm expecting a step forward in playmaking. The shooting, I think, is a bit random, especially for a guy like Pascal. I look at his numbers. I don't even know what to make of them. All over his career, he was a terrible shooter, then he was a good shooter, then he was a terrible shooter again.
When did he start playing basketball?
Well, I mean, we've all heard it ad nauseum. What, when he was 17 or whatever? Yeah.
Right. So there's a difference between being a specialist on a sport for not your entire life, but since grade 8 versus, last minute switching to a sport and being amazing at it. That's Pascal. I think he'll be fine. Exactly. Just like Koloko. I don't really see any reason why you need to doubt him. I'm not saying he's going to be a 40% shooter, but he doesn't need to be.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be.
Wait. Hold on.
Yep.
Let's skip Kenyon. But don't you think if Pascal could hold down the paint and maybe the mid-range, that doesn't open up the 3-point shooting for the current Toronto Raptors roster?
I think Pascal's good at everything.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And he's going to grow his game in everywhere.
But it's just like Giannis. Giannis can hit a 3, but no one's scared when Giannis.
Okay, but he doesn't shoot like Giannis.
No, he doesn't shoot like Giannis. But that's a very broad comparison.
Ridiculous.
That's a very broad comparison. I'm not comparing them directly.
But my point is that number one, I expect all these guys to be better free throw shooters, and which number one. And number two, yeah, I expect. I mean, we see it. Pascal with the spin move, like, with the mid range, he's a much better player now. He's getting better now. He's improved now. But I expect that to improve. My only thing is that for him to be most effective and for Scottie to be most effective, yeah, they're going to have to improve their 3-point shot. It's going to improve. They do not have to shoot 40%. Okay. Devin Booker doesn't shoot 40%. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He shoots 0% on Kardashian, but let's not.
Fair enough. So
the higher percentage you shoot, the better, obviously. But it also has to do with volume. It also has to do with volume. There's a lot of factors that.
But this is my point, right? Well, it's like you look at Otto Porter, and Otto Porter shoots almost 4 threes a game at 40%. So you add that, you add other guys. And I think the whole point is that you move towards something where there's more ball movement.
Okay, ball movement. Let's go there. Let's go there.
That's the thing with Gary Trent Jr. He shoots a high volume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's very effective when he shoots threes. He gets
he's
a lot of these guys
when he doesn't isolate on threes and he actually does catch and shoots. Because, like you were alluding to, catch and shoots are one of the most efficient ways of shooting threes. Which is why when you look at Fred VanVleet, he actually shoots better in catch and shoot than Devin Booker. He shoots 44% on catch and shoot.
He's a great catch and shoot player. A lot of these guys are. The problem is when the Raptors were back to your ball movement question. The Raptors were 29th in the league in assists last year. They need to pass a lot more. They need to create opportunities a lot more. And these guys, Gary Trent Jr., Fred VanVleet, when they get chased off the 3-point line, and they go inside the arc, bad things happen. Bottom line, bad things happen. They're not good at getting to the rim. They're not good at taking contested pull-up twos. These are weaknesses in their game, which is why I want my Pascal Siakams, I want my Scottie Barnes in the paint, and I want these guys standing in the corners, taking those shots, really like a 3 seconds max. Catch the ball, one dribble, put it up, or pass it. And
I agree with you in terms of moving the ball around. I don't think that just parking those guys in the lane is optimal. You have, if you want a guy to bang in the lane, there's a physical guy, OG. That's a way. Maybe that's a way that OG can get more touches or something. But you don't want to take the ball out of your best playmaker's hands. I'm sorry, but if I'm 6'10" and you're 6 feet, I can see over the defense more than you.
I'm telling you to put it in the hands of a Scottie Barnes.
Okay, because you had me confused. It sounded like you were saying, have him bang in the post and that's
no. I'm talking about driving here. I'm talking about downhill. I'm not really talking about.
Okay.
I'm not really talking about playing this.
I mean, I would love to see. I would love to see a Pascal Siakam, Scottie. I mean, we saw it a little bit last year, but I would love to see a pick and roll between them, and or a pick and pop to the 3. So to keep it, 100 with a 3. Yeah, I think that there's something there. But yeah, I just think that the Raptors will be a better 3-point shooting team. I think that their half-court offense will improve because, frankly,
gotta have half-court offense to win in the playoffs.
You do most of the time, but the thing is that
has Mike D'Antoni won a championship yet?
Yeah, but for different reasons. But I think the key thing here is this, right? You need a half-court offense that sings, that zims, that hums, that goes fast. And sometimes the decisions that were made by certain guys last year, whether I'll chalk it up to just trust, right? They didn't trust their teammates. They felt like they had to take on more. Well, this year, we've all worked together from earlier in the offseason, and we're all coming in hungry on a same goal. So I think that just out of that, the offense is going to be better, and the 3-point shooting is going to be better.
I agree that it will be better.
Kind of like us.
I agree it'll be better, but the one thing I will say is Otto Porter Jr. was the only real 3-point shooter they added, and it's not necessarily. We lost Kenyon. There's not necessarily going to be this magic. They're not going to suddenly transform into a different team overnight. I mean, we're talking better. We're not talking they're not the Warriors. They're still going to have guys who are mediocre shooters. I think they can clean a lot of things up. Otto will really help. The thing is, if Otto stays healthy, that's the other thing. We haven't even really gotten into that. So I actually think they'll be improved. I don't know that they'll be a great offensive team next year. I don't know if they'll be a great offensive 3-point shooting team next year. But as long as they can be better, I mean, this team won 48 games, so
with major injuries.
Yeah, they can be a threat if they could really clean some of this stuff up.
And I called 45. So anyway, but guys,
it was 48, right? I didn't make that up.
It was 48.
Yeah.
Skip, I don't care. But thank you, Skip. Thank you, Kenyon. Guys, before we get out of here, because we're running short on time right now. So let me ask you one final question. Give me a hard answer. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Skip, because I know sometimes you talk too much. But give me a final answer. Okay, guys?
Wait, I talk too much?
Yes.
Okay.
My man. Right? Touche. Boucher. But do you guys honestly think if the Raptors can increase their 3-point efficiency and what they put onto the court, do you think that could put them to the next level? Because let's face it, the American media does not give a crap about the Raps. Wait, that rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care, right? And they don't have the Raps on the radar. But look at where the Raps ended up last year in the Eastern Conference, and they're only going to go up, right? So, do you think them adding this 3-point aspect to their game and maybe utilizing it, do you think that could take them to maybe the next level?
I kind of already covered that, but I think they're gonna have to get.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you guys can go on Raptors. What, Skip?
Raptors Republic.
Yes,
there'll probably be an article coming up pretty soon on this very topic. So the 3-point shot is important, but the whole Raptors offense kind of needs a renovation a little bit. And I don't know that that's going to happen this year. They like I said, they really struggled to put the ball in the basket last year. I think 3-point shooting is the best way to get them a little bit closer to above average or average. I think they would still need to figure out their inside game before they could really be an elite offensive team. But really, this is about with the style they play, with the possession game they play, with the defense they play. They just need to be a solid offensive team. And so I think a 3-point shot could go a long way, but it doesn't put them in that like high level contender tier.
Kenyon, what do you think? Do you think that could put them up there?
Yeah, so Nick Nurse made a purposeful decision last year based on our personnel, that it mathematically made more sense getting extra possessions with offensive boards and creating that, because that would create more wins.
Yeah.
Nick Nurse is a good coach. So yes, obviously adding better players. I'll make it simple. We have a better bench. Okay? We have a better bench.
Thank you.
We have guys that even at their worst are significantly better than last year. And even if Otto Porter is moderately injury prone, I don't disagree with that. He's in a bench role.
Yeah.
Right? His role, we're not going to have to play unless something bad really, really happens. We're not going to have to play our starters 40 minutes ever again. We shouldn't, at least not until the playoffs. And even in the playoffs, you have solid vets. So yes, we'll be better. I have us top 4 in the East, even with whatever else is happening in the East. I have us as a top 4 team in the East, without question.
Hell yeah!
So that's my answer.
Don't foreshadow my prediction. I got them.
I got them in the Nets to worry about now, but that's
nope.
We'll see.
I got them in 4. I had them in 5 last year. Guys, I honestly think, before we get out of here, the Raptors adding the 3-point element, because we can see the formula. Look at how many past years, Golden State, Steph Curry has changed the game. 3-point is vital, and the Raptors do need to add that with the way they're changing the game with positionless basketball. And I think, I honestly think with the way these guys have been working, like Kenyon, you said earlier, about the whole team showing up at the Rico Hines. You know, like, these guys are working hard, right? And they want to make a difference. They want to get there. And like you said just now, Kenyon, that you see them going at 4th. So do I. I see them possibly going at 3rd. But I'll cover that on the season preview.
Yeah, we'll have to get into that later. I think they could be top 4 in the East. I think it's tighter though.
We will.
Yeah.
So before we get out of here, guys, listen. Skip and I will be at Hurricanes Roadhouse on Bloor Street. You guys could come and get at us. You guys could talk to us personally, have a drink with us, have some nachos, hang out.
Some wings.
It's all good. Wings, yeah, whatever. I don't know. Yeah. I know they got some good food, but by the time you have a couple beers, you don't care what you're eating at that point, right? But you guys know what to do. Go down there, click subscribe, click like, leave a comment. Thank you for all your comments, especially on our Eurobasket one. We very much appreciate it. We have a couple things going through the pipeline. You guys will be able to order t-shirts from us very shortly, right? We will have a couple for you. Give it a couple weeks and we'll have it for you. You guys know what to do. Find Skip at Dougie J's. Find us at To The Point on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. You guys find me, King Hussein, everywhere. You guys know what to do. Go find my man Kenyon Nisbett.
No, thanks. Watch the
Okay.
AmeriCup instead, and watch Banton play in the AmeriCup. Support your Canadian teams.
All right.
Hell yeah. We will be covering that. But thank you guys for watching. And Kenyon, thank you very much for coming back on. And Skip, yeah, whatever. I'll talk to you later. But on behalf of all 3 of us, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and
Peace.